I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube, iTunes, basically anywhere you can subscribe to a podcast. Make sure you leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, share the show, and let everybody know about the blackest radio show in America, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Mark B. Let's bring the crew in. I was going to say, we keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time, unless we're talking about Jay-Z and Nas. But I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that.
But you just did it, though.
I ain't gonna do it, man. I ain't gonna do it. All right, man. So Jerry Jones. Y'all know I live down here in Dallas. Jerry Jones was pretty big down here. Picture was released from back in Little Rock, Arkansas. Jerry Jones is from Arkansas. When the Little Rock Nine were trying to desegregate the high school, Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. And a picture showed up with Jerry Jones standing with the mob of other children trying to prevent Black students entering into the high school. Now, this didn't get as much press as I thought it should have received. That's probably that's what we're going to talk about on this show. But I was kind of disappointed. And I want to say kind of. I was disappointed at some of the opinions that came from Black people concerning this news story by Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is probably, 80 years old now? He's in his 80s, right? They say he's at 14. They estimate 14 or 15 when this picture was taken. But there were some Black people who were putting on the cape for Jerry Jones. I'm pretty confident nobody on this show is going to do that, but we're just going to talk about it and then talk about some other stuff that came up in the week in news and concerning Black people. So, Lab, back in the day, you used to be a Cowboys fan, man. You still a Cowboys fan?
Man, you know what? I like the Cowboys unless they're playing the Browns or the Chiefs, man.
So, a lot of people down here living in Dallas, Fort Worth, I'll say this. The Cowboys aren't annoying. Their fans are annoying. It's like, I say, we're from Kansas City, all of us except for Arika. Arika's from the other side of Missouri, but she rocks with the Chiefs too, right? So we could be fanatical as Chiefs fans, but we can also be realistic as well, right? Cowboys fans are not that. And when I talk to a lot of Black Cowboys fans, they say, yeah, we like the Cowboys, but we hate Jerry Jones. Like, we can't stand that dude. Is that you, Lab? Where you sit on this side of the fence, man?
Honestly, Jerry is who that picture really honestly didn't change much for me. I mean, I kind of had assumed, that's just my assumption across the board, right or wrong, about people in his era that grew up in the places they grew up in the South. They were there. I don't have photo evidence of everybody, obviously, but no. So it really didn't change my view of him. But Jerry, I don't know, man. He's good and bad for the Cowboys, I think.
What's good for the Cowboys?
He's always putting them in the spotlight, which in turn drives people to their merchandise, stuff like that. So he's able to build the star. He's able to get a team. He sells out every game. He has, he's done right by former players, if you ask them, as far as business dealings, things like that. So that's why I say it's good to some extent, but it's bad to some extent as well, because he does seem to overreach having his hands in too much. Really, he shouldn't really be that involved in day-to-day football operations. But it is what it is.
When I think of the NFL, and y'all know I'm kind of cool on the NFL. I mean, I'll watch if it's on. I'm no longer actively boycotting. To say I was the only one on this show that actively boycotted.
Until the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl and
No,
Bro had his
no,
flight booked in 2 hours.
No.
Hey, he said wheels up, boycott. As soon as he clicked the AFC title game last, he was logging on.
But here's the
He
thing,
convinced me to go. He convinced me to go.
The beautiful part is
that whole season he was boycotting.
but the beautiful part is we got the tape to show it. That when Kaepernick settled with all them white attorneys, that's when I said I'm done boycotting.
You did.
We just sat here, we done rolled tough for this man, and he ain't have one black attorney on the team.
You didn't say that, but you wasn't watching it though.
I wasn't watching, but I'm from the area. Yeah, I went. I really went to just hang with my guys.
It was a good trip. It was a good
That's
trip.
what it was.
And I'm so glad I went because a month and a half later, everything shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything shut down. But listen, I say, man, Jerry Jones, man, F Jerry Jones, because when I think of the NFL and that plantation mentality, I think that's Jerry all the way. Like when the players wanted to kneel in support of Colin Kaepernick, he was like, "Nah, y'all not gonna be doing that here." I mean, I know they did some fake choreographed kneel with the players, but he was like, "Nah, if anybody kneels, that's a wrap for you with our organization." If I think about old white men, to your point, Lav, I generally assume the same thing. If they came up in that area, I know that Al Davis, he was a little bit more so in the forefront, hiring black coaches. He was like a Jerry Jones type owner who was like involved in everything in the forefront, but at least for the most part, he was on the right side of things when it came to black players, at least from what we saw. I'm sure that it wasn't all perfect, but I wasn't surprised. I was really surprised how some people would try to say that this was some smear campaign and Stephen A. Smith.
Man,
it's so obvious that he's bought and paid for
this dude.
Because like my thing is this, and then see, I know you want to jump on in. Even if you felt like, you know what, this is a white man that's my friend and he's good to me as a person. When they are in this type of situation where they're present, didn't seem like he was like, being aggressive or whatever in the picture, but he was there. He wasn't trying to say, "Hey guys, let's not do this. Let's treat these kids who are trying to come and get an education like us, let's leave them alone." He was standing there with the mob, right? Even if you felt like, okay, that's not him, that's not his character, now just be quiet. You don't need to go and put on your cape and try to defend Jerry Jones, because he still didn't really apologize for being there. He never really apologized. Well, obviously, that's not how I think. How do we know that? But see, I've been talking a lot. Go ahead, come on in.
Well, and I think that's the reason it didn't get a lot of press, because like you said, no one was surprised. I mean, that's not just so much how we picture everybody, but especially Jerry Jones, because that's not the first time he's shown us who he was. So that's why I think when they saw the picture, there was like no one really surprised on, white or black. And then, that self-serving apology he made, that I think that's what I was more irritated about. Because I mean, if he was 14, he was there.
It wasn't even an apology though. See, it wasn't an apology.
That's true. It wasn't even an apology. Yeah. He started talking about, he was scared he wasn't going to make the basketball team. And, and I'm like, there was like black teenagers who were scared to even go to the store or school, trying to make it home alive. And you telling us that you were standing there looking because you were trying to make a basketball team. I'm like, so not only could Stephen A. have kept quiet, Jerry Jones should have kept quiet too.
And I just want to real quick, it wasn't a Little Rock 9. That was a different high school in Little Rock that this happened at.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a different one. Well, and then there was a lot of people on the other side too. I mean,
wait. This wasn't with the Little Rock 9?
No, it was a different high school.
So this was in Little Rock though, right?
It was in Little Rock.
So that's why I made the assumption it was the Little Rock.
Yeah. Okay. Little Rock 9 cats had went, and I think these other kids was like, we're gonna try to go to this other school.
I got
But
you.
you know, there's a lot of pictures you can find around that same time where there was a lot of kids, white kids, who were standing on the other side of the line. So Jerry had a choice. You know, he made the choice. He chose which side of the line to stand on back then and now.
Because he wanted to make the basketball team, man. You know how important that is.
Hmm.
No,
I
well,
thought
first
I was
things
say
first.
something about he wasn't supposed to be there because he was a football coach.
Yeah, it was football. It was
Football,
It was
football
football?
No.
coach. Yeah, something like
I
that.
thought it was basketball. I guess I didn't really.
Nah, it's football. It's
You know, they don't
football.
play basketball.
No. But yeah, I'm not from Illinois. I'm not from Missouri. I'm from Illinois, the way other side. Don't put me in with these St. Louis people.
You're from Illinois. She's not from
No.
Illinois. She's from Illinois.
From Illinois. But my question is, who really went around and dug up this picture from 60 years ago so that we could talk about this man standing in the picture? Like, let's talk about the stuff that he's doing today. Let's
I want
talk
to know
about
because I'd
stuff
like to
that
give him a
elders
high
do.
five.
I know.
Said what?
His cousin.
But see, this the thing too, though, is apparently the photo had been printed before, and he had addressed it before. But I mean, it was like at like a school or something, you know, like. But it wasn't nothing in public. But he had addressed it in like a speech or something. But yeah.
I mean, I hope don't nobody pull up nothing I did last week, especially not 60 years ago. I mean, obviously, like we all said, it's not like we're shocked that he was there or that he was on the side that he was on. I mean, I like to think that people have an opportunity to change, but I mean, he's shown us who he was. I mean,
Yeah.
who he is. So I'm not going to judge him by being in a photo from 60 years ago. I'm going to judge him from the stuff that he does today. And
I mean,
how
I
he-
am, because
I know.
again, there was a lot of them that was on the other side of that
I'm
line
a judge
60
him.
years
I'm
ago.
not gonna-
I mean, you
But see,
look
this
at pictures.
And I
No,
get what
no.
people are saying. I get what you're saying, Enrico, was talking about, okay, 14, 15, hell, when I was 20 something, I don't want nobody bringing that back up. But
Oh yeah.
if I had done something that let's not equate this to somebody just being a dumb kid.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I sped.
That's what they was, and that's what he was trying to say.
I sped. I got two speeding tickets in one day, or I graffitied the bathroom wall, or some stuff like that. Something that kids do. It's not something that kids do to sit around while other people, if they want to say bullying Black students trying to come in. Really, they were terrorizing those Black kids trying to come in. So let's keep it a buck. So yeah, I feel where you're going, but I can't give them that. I can't give them that benefit of the doubt.
The second part about this thing that it kind of made me think is just the influence that people around you have on you. So again, not to absolve him of anything, but it's easy to take a particular side when everybody else around you is taking that particular side as well. And I think of decisions I may have made in high school where, you know, or not even that, you see something going on when you look back like, man, I should have stepped in, whether it was something about harassing women. I mean, just things like that. But because of the culture and the people that you were around, they were engaged in that. And I might not have said nothing. I might not have been an active participant in what was going on, but I didn't say anything. And Jerry Jones is trying to act like he was an active participant. He just didn't do anything.
So, but that level of remorse and regret that you expressed about a hypothetical situation, he didn't come close to that.
No. And it reminded me of January 6th. He's trying to act like he's like, oh, I was just a dumb young kid, young and dumb, just happened to be hanging around there when this ridiculous stuff was happening. That's exactly the same argument that all these people that were on the Capitol on January 6th are saying. I didn't know what was going on. I was just there as a bystander. I just happened to show up. And hey, they're using the same playbook 60 years later, right?
Well, it works.
They've been using the same playbook.
Right.
It works.
Yo, don't worry. We're going to get back to the good stuff. But before we do that, make sure you go to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. If you want to donate to the show, go to our Cash App, $ Man Listen Show. Now back to the good stuff.
And here's the other piece that I feel is dangerous. If you say, well, that happened so many years ago, maybe his mind has changed. Would you say the same thing about that white wench that got Emmett Till murdered?
No, but my point is
Hold
what
on,
does
hold
it
on,
matter?
hold on.
No, so I'm saying no, I wouldn't say that.
Because
I wouldn't say
I
that
want her,
about him.
I want her persecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I
I
don't give,
do
Yeah,
a-
for
too.
I don't give a
I
sure.
damn
do
I
how
do
too.
old she
too.
is.
I
So
mean, hell, lynch her for all I care. What I'm saying is let's say that Jerry Jones is the biggest racist on the face of the earth. Let's say that he was the one throwing stones in the picture. Now what? What is that? What does that change? How does that change today? Nobody is shocked. He's doing the same things he was doing yesterday or the day before this picture came out. Nobody
Yeah.
is like, you know what? Let's get him removed from his position. We're not doing anything but talking about it. And that
you
seems like a
should
waste of
though.
time to me.
And Ryan
And you
Dakota
know what?
Prescott still gonna play quarterback for him regardless. So
Exactly.
You know what? And you make a good point. That was the same point we made. Well, I know I made. I don't know if you all made the same point, but that was the same point I made about the boycott with Kaepernick. I said, you know, me not watching the NFL really is not going to change much. It's a personal stance that I'm taking, right? It's not going to affect their ad revenues that much. It's just not, right? I think a significant amount of Black people did boycott, and they did see a dip, and they tried to flip it and try to say, oh, it's because Kaepernick has turned off the white viewers. No, that's not the case. Some Black people were standing tall, right? So yes, I think if the Black players would say, hey, listen, we don't want to play for this dude. Like this is just another thing. We probably would have saw more, but obviously they got families to feed, right? It's easy for us to say, hey, don't play for him when you got millions, hundreds of $1,000s on the line. It's easy for us to say that, right? So I think you make a good point. But the other point that I want to drive home is why are we so divided? Why are we not able to come together as one when something like this happens? To my knowledge, when this whole Kyrie debacle and Kanye debacle came out, I may have saw maybe one person of Jewish descent saying, hey, this ain't nothing but a shakedown. Maybe one. And it was some random person on Twitter, right? You never saw anybody of any sort of celebrity, anything at all that would say, hey man, you know, I'm Jewish and this isn't right, what's happening to Kyrie. But we have so-called celebrities and spokesmen in our community that are going to speak and give cover for other people. Why are we so divided and not able to come together to punish those who are trying to do harm to us?
I mean, that's the $1 million question. We've been asking that question.
Yeah, I don't even have an answer. I mean,
I
Stephen
can-
A could have said absolutely nothing. Like he did not have to speak.
Right.
Like you said, the random dude
Does
on
he
Twitter, but that doesn't count because that's not a famous person who can influence millions. So
Max
that
Kellerman was kind of sticking up for Kyrie a little bit, but
was he?
Does Stephen A. Smith know how to shut up though?
I
no.
don't think
Think
so.
Somebody made the point that because he is such a loud, he speaks so loudly about the Cowboys on a week-to-week basis. It's kind of like a shtick that they have for that show. When
Yeah,
I don't watch the show anymore, but back when I used to watch it, back when Skip was on there, it was like a shtick. Him like, how about them Cowboys? He laugh and do all this different stuff. Because to last point, you know, the Cowboys, they are America's team and they bring in ratings, right? So whether you're talking about them, there's people from all over the country that love the Cowboys. People all over the world love the Cowboys. You know, when I lived in Mexico, you know, all the Mexicans in Mexico, they love the Cowboys. Like they're an international team. They really are. So when you talk about them, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, they drive ratings. So some people said that he almost had to speak on it. I don't think that he needed to give any comfort. I think he has enough cachet and influence with ESPN when he said, listen, I don't really want to talk about this topic. Maybe he really felt that way, right? But I felt like maybe he should have found some way to deflect because he's awful gung-ho when brothers is in the wrong.
Right.
He's awful gung-ho when brothers is in the wrong. But I mean, it don't just stop there, man. I saw in the news there was this white football player that's supposed to be going to the University of Florida, and he posted a video of him singing along to a rap song. I don't even know what rap song it was, but he was saying the N-word, and he put it on social media. And the University of Florida, rightfully so, snatched his scholarship. they snatched his scholarship. And I saw there was some black people was like, oh, that's not a big deal. And they tried to blame it on the rappers or whatever. And I was like, man, come on, y'all. Like, for real. Like, we can't just allow this to happen. You know, Michael Jackson, the biggest entertainer on the planet, said the K word, and they made him change it. Right? We can't even say this little white boy from wherever that's supposed to be going to Florida. We can't say, no, he deserves to be punished. Like, what's going on with us, man?
So yeah, I don't think that's the same thing though, because that's a term, whatever that the K word is something that they don't use freely amongst themselves towards each other to mean something of endearment or a homie or a homeboy. We are at fault for taking that word and flipping it and trying to do something positive with it. My issue with the kid is, do I think he should have lost the scholarship? I mean, absolutely. I don't care. It's not my fight. But at the same time, I'm just looking at down the road, if he's in that same video and there's 4 or 5 other players standing there next to him and they look like us, are their scholarships going to be taken too? Because it was taken from using that word in a rap song that we made, that we sing. And so I'm just looking at down the road what it could cause. I wouldn't fight for him to get a scholarship back. I don't care enough. But at the same time, I'm not signing a petition to get him to lose it. You know, I'm not going to spend my energy on him losing it as if he did the same thing as that Eagles player who they left play for the Philadelphia Eagles, who use it in a derogatory way with the hard ER and with like ill intent and anger behind his voice. That's what I was saying when you and I were talking about it. And I'm not taking up for this boy at all. I'm just saying that we got bigger fish to fry.
What was that white boy's name? Riley
Cooper?
Riley Cooper, I think.
Yeah,
Riley,
and
right?
did he even get suspended for a game or so?
He said, I'll fight every N-word up in here. He said, I'll fight every N-word.
And was actually jumping at people to fight.
Right.
And they let him back. And when I say they, not only the Philadelphia Eagles, but the black players. I think like
the black players.
I think Deshaun Watson, a couple of them was like, nah, bro, we're not cool with that. But at the end of the day,
how did he feel comfortable walking back in that locker room?
He protected by white daddy.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
Listen, it's gonna take him a few seconds to get into that locker room. I'm teeing off. I'm getting
like that tunnel. What's that game? What college was that? That dude ran through the tunnel.
What happened to the Rams coach? I'm doing like that every day.
Oh.
I'm just gonna run next to him and accidentally blow the shit out.
I'm surprised that didn't happen because most of the time when stuff like that happens, like players get into it or something happens, normally it's somewhat self-policed. You know, somebody get hit extra hard or there'll be a fight in practice and you don't really see it, or a locker room fight or something. You know, not everything is like Draymond and Jordan Poole. Right. Gets released to the press. You know, sometimes stuff gets handled in the locker room, on the field, practice field, and then it's done like that. And I'm hoping somebody got that dude. I'm hoping that they did.
What's good, everybody? To listen to any of our past shows, go to www.manlistenshow.com. And if you want to add right here in the show, you can do the same thing.
Yeah, you know, the dude from the high school quarterback, I'm not gonna lie. At first I read the story and I was like, man, they going too far, man, because I was like, I think his name was like Marcus Stokes. Like Marcus Stokes loses scholarship for rapping with the N-word. I was like, dang, they taking this black dude's scholarship because his name is Marcus Stokes. I thought he was a black dude. And then I was like, man,
he did too.
They going too far, like man.
Must be a different story.
Right. But now to see, I do wonder, like, it's gonna happen one day. They're gonna be like, we need to be fair. And they're going to take a black kid scholarship for rapping along to 21 Savage or something like that. So, yeah, I'm
if you listen to 21 Savage, it needs to get taken.
Yeah, I'm real interested.
You about to listen to it when you get over here.
Unless it's that new track with Nas.
Nas is on
unless it's that new track with Nas. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, you took the bait. I knew you.
Yes. Y'all gonna be in y'all sleep talking 21.
We've been arguing Nas and Jay-Z. I'm the one
years.
Nas fan.
We've been arguing for years.
So yeah, they've been spewing nonsense about my boy. King's Disease 3. Make sure y'all check that out. It's a classic.
That's what Nas gonna be saying. Nas gonna be in there talking 21.
Nah, I doubt it. Nas
You
dropping.
hope. No, you hope.
Listen, but I think, but that did somewhat already happen though. I remember not long ago, and I can't remember what player, what referee, but this happened in the NFL where a black player called a ref or an umpire the N-word, and he got penalized for it. And I think he was rightfully penalized. Y'all know our stance on this show, my personal stance. I don't use the N-word. We don't use it on the show. I don't agree with C's point in terms of, well, we say it, we use it as a term of endearment. So they should, why are we surprised? Mexicans call themselves derogatory names. I bet you won't see somebody say it on TV and getting away with it. I bet you don't. Maybe the Jews don't use those type of words, but I bet you if they did, we still wouldn't get away with it. White folks call each other's, all kind of stuff when they're talking about, poor white people. They call them white trash. They call them rednecks, whatever. If we were to say that in a derogatory way towards a white person, we would absolutely be penalized. So I don't see why this situation, because some people feel like it's a term of endearment, and because some of the rappers use it. And I hate that whole play, because that's that Don Imus, that's that Don Imus shit.
No,
so
it is.
Back when Don Imus was talking about the Rutgers women's basketball team, calling them nappy-headed hoes, and he was under fire. And then they said, well, the rappers say worse than I do. Why am I in trouble? And then next thing you know, for 2 weeks, hip hop and rap was on the news. It was on the news. They never cared. They never cared one time at all. See, they never cared one. They never cared once. If we talked about killing ourselves, if we were misogynistic, they never cared one bit. But when it came down to, okay, let's give this old white man cover, let's do this, then they want to play it. We can't fall into that playbook. That's a hustle.
No, I'm not, but I still don't feel that's the same.
Yeah, what you're saying.
That's a word that they use that's derogatory, with anger, fueled with emotions every single time. The way people use the N-word is not the same thing. You could not see somebody for 20 years and be like, oh, that's my, or that, oh, I know who she is, I know who he is, that's my, you know what I mean? So it's just the way they say it.
Right. And so you also, you said use it, if we use that redneck word derogatory in a derogatory way towards white people. That's what you said, right? So I think C's point too, he wasn't using it in a derogatory manner. He just rapping along in the song. You know what I'm saying? I
don't think he should say it. I mean, they can't sing it around me. So it's not how he would, you know what I'm saying? It's just different.
My thing is this, and I think I talked about this on the show before. I remember being in high school, and I was in this advanced history literature class, and we were reading Mark Twain. And if you've read Mark Twain, they use the N-word incessantly in Mark Twain. One of the characters is called N-word Jim. And a hustle that a lot of white people tried to do was like, well, this is significant of the time. At the time, it was an acceptable word to use. And I had a white teacher, Mr. Schultz, who sat there and explained to me, don't let anybody tell you that. That word has never been acceptable. Not once in history has that word been acceptable. And I don't believe for once, see, that this young white man did not know that him using that word is not acceptable. Maybe the little dumbass black kids on his football team that ride the bus with him allow him to do it. But he knows in general society that is not acceptable. So I can't go for that.
I agree with that. I was just talking about the whole scholarship piece, but yeah, he knew he wasn't supposed to say it.
He tells his ass to go to Little Romeo's school. Football
I see DC.
He think it is loan forgiveness. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah.
But aren't they still held up though?
It's pending.
Yeah, it's pending.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, on the real, it's been damn near what, 3-4 years?
3 years.
Y'all don't need my money. Y'all don't need my money. Just go ahead, just talk it up, man.
Right.
Talk it up. Y'all need my money.
Look, Sally wasn't never getting my money. All right, y'all own a home and a car. And I will call y'all if I need anything else to do a forbearance just long enough to get whatever it is I need. And then y'all can go back to whatever it is y'all do over there. I'm not never paying y'all.
That's funny.
They'll be there
funny.
when I die.
Yeah, nah.
Good luck.
You know, it's gonna, I mean, I'm just like, at this point, yeah, like you said, Mario, you don't need mama. If you can keep pushing them back I mean, that's all you got to do. You don't ever got to say they're forgiven. Just keep pushing them back.
And do you think if the Democrats really wanted that's all they had to say? It's like, hey, look, we're gonna keep pushing these Jones back.
Man.
Because clearly he's got the power to do so, right?
Yeah.
Just keep pushing these Jones back, man.
You know what? You just hit on something. That must be what Herschel Walker is telling people down in Georgia. How else can you, in your right mind, vote for this dude, man? That has me disgusted. I mean, for real, man.
You're assuming that people in Georgia are in their right minds.
Ugh.
Because he
Look at their
definitely don't
elections.
sound like he is.
Well, there's a term, and I think if you put it in the dictionary, put his picture in the dictionary, useful idiot, that's Herschel Walker. Because I was around some older white gentlemen who clearly were Republicans, and they were like, I think he's okay. I think he's, and I wanted so bad. Obviously, I got to make a living, so I just didn't say anything. But I was just like, what makes him okay?
Right.
He's barely literate. Herschel Walker is a professional slave.
Yeah, basically.
He is a
He
professional.
probably got CTE, honestly.
Yeah, he has to. Has to.
Yeah.
I think that's being generous. I think that boy always been slow.
I'm not about to say what I was about to say.
I think that boy always been slow, So, when his little sassy son turned on him, that was that let you know right there. Cause have you ever seen his son, Herschel Walker's son?
Yeah.
He is super flamboyant, super Republican. And he be on there just twirling his neck and talking crazy about Democrats and Black people, but he had finally had enough too. But I guess that wasn't enough for the people in Georgia. So hopefully, Reverend Raphael Warnock, hopefully they can pull it out. He's a good alpha man. Hopefully we can get that done. But anyway, man, I think we talked about it enough. Make sure y'all go to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Go to our Instagram. Go to our YouTube. Leave a comment, thumbs up, share the show. Let everybody know about the Blackest Radio Show on the internet. We'll holler at you next time. Peace.
Peace.